Good morning, guys. Just a little after 5 a.m. We got the P7000 already fired up, knocking out some orders for the day. And today will not be a very long day, but it is certainly profitable. You can see I started this video literally at the second we loaded the vinyl, so we'll go through and the video's length will be the exact time of the print. This particular print, as far as the sheet size, is 17 inches by 23. Now, we're still getting a lot of questions on average, how much do you make per sheet? And that's why I keep titling the videos how much we're making per sheet, because I think a lot of people that are looking at printers this size are concerned about how much they're going to spend in terms of actually laying out the investment and are they going to make any money back? Or I should say, how fast they're going to make their money back. The real answer to that question is how creative you are and how well do you understand the markets that are out there. The more you pay attention online to different areas, the more money you're certainly going to make. The big thing here with vinyl is understanding that there are numerous markets that are really never even touched. I just did a video, or actually I posted a video a few days ago of the P51 we did on the actual tray table. And that was done with epoxy, and again, going over the epoxy resin finish. Very few people, if any, use that method to actually decorate furniture with. Or I should say refinish furniture with. And I know that market is seldom touched. We see a lot of people doing tumblers and things of that nature, and I really want you guys to think a little bit when you see those type of projects, because a lot of times what's not covered is the fact that you have to be very cautious when you're dealing with anything people are putting toward their mouths, that you're using food grade products. I don't know why YouTube allows certain videos to be posted without really vetting what's actually being posted, because again, you know, these videos are being posted and potentially can lead people to harm if they're not using common sense, or what we think to be common sense, especially to their possible clients. Because again, buying a tumbler and having your child or anybody drink out of that tumbler that's been painted or has had, you know, just a different type of ink format, whether it's eco-solvent or laser printing, without being properly sealed in a food grade product, you are at risk for getting sick. So when we get clients that ask those questions, oh, can we decorate wine glasses? Can we decorate food grade products in terms of what will be, you know, used daily, possibly, to actually drink out of, or again, to be eaten with? We've seen people wanting to do cutting boards. Cutting boards are certainly possible if you use a food grade epoxy. That's totally doable. The big thing is putting on enough coats to seal that image so that you never have to worry about any type of penetration. But over time, of course, knives being used on that cutting board excessively, if the coat is too thin and it's your first project, you are at risk of penetrating those resin layers and potentially damaging or hitting the vinyl, in which case then you've contaminated that cutting board. So again, let me just check here on the status of the printer, and you can see. There we go. Again, we have to think about these details, and again, these are safety details, and I know that gets kind of silly to discuss, but because most of you are saying that's common sense, but I can't tell you how many videos are on YouTube that actually reflect people using non-food grade products. I saw a video of a guy doing a tumbler with Rust-Oleum. I mean, and then he goes over it with epoxy. None of them are claiming the epoxy they're using is food grade. And I'm sure they're selling these units because there's only so many you're going to make for yourself. And certainly you're not going to buy this type of equipment to do everything for yourself unless you've got one hell of a hobby. So really, we need to really look at what's being posted out there, and you guys need to execute common sense. And if you do have questions about certain things, I would certainly ask. I couldn't imagine just taking someone's advice, especially these people that are posting this stuff. It's really terrifying what we're seeing. All types of different paints being used, all types of different dyes being used, and we have no idea if any of these are food grade, or at least they're not stating it in their videos. So again, if you're going to do food grade products, we highly recommend that you execute common sense and make sure you understand exactly what you're getting into, because that's imperative. Did you bring over the table? And again, that's something that we do get tons and tons of questions on, because people see the potential to make money. And again, using inkjet, you get a lot of different ways. And here's that table once again, because we've gotten a lot of questions on this. Now again, this is fully sealed. It's dry, it's sealed. Everything is set here. So that's a buried image, and this is what's possible when you want to refinish a surface. Again, this is going to be your safest method, pending, of course. Now, if you put anything on this table in terms of food, you're not going to have any problems with this. But when we're dealing with cups and so forth, where they want to stick them in dishwashers, guys, be careful with that, okay? That's where you really want to be careful. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't understand why people would want to mess with a tumbler when you can knock out a project like this and make a hell of a lot more money with this than you ever will with the tumbler. On top of the fact that everybody's doing them. They pick the smallest objects, of course, because they feel that they're the easiest. Well, I'll tell you right now, this table, or tables similar to this, furniture similar to this, you could do a restoration project on a lunchbox, and we've seen clients do it, and they make a ton of money, and it's a super small project. So if you're capable of dealing with wood, and in terms of understanding how it works and dealing with the epoxy format, this is going to give you a much higher return on your investment than anything else. And that's why I say to you guys, stay with what's going to make you the most amount of money. You definitely don't want to invest your time, or I should say the same amount of time, dealing with componentry, dealing with different projects that are just not there. You just don't have that type of that time investment yielding the highest ROI. Okay, this graphic sheet right now, I'm an electrical engineer, and I'm actually doing some box graphics for an electrical enclosure for one of my clients, and that's what you see on this bottom portion. And then over here you can see our aircraft gauges, and that's for RC models, and then on top we've got some nose art for RC models. So this sheet alone, I'll give you an idea, the enclosure for a client, this particular graphic is going on a $4,000 enclosure. This is once again going to be sold individual sets. You can see how they're all set up, and those will go, I believe, for $12 to $15 a set. And then of course these actually on the back end are already sold. So again, like I told you in previous videos, we try not to carry inventory. We print as we require items, so we're not back building, and that's totally up to you. That's the beauty of this industry. Once you understand that, you're all set. Right now we're coming up on about 9 minutes on this video, and you can see we're almost done with this sheet. And just so everyone knows, because I get questions on this all the time, guys will say, well, God, that seems like a long time to print this. I have the printer's quality settings set to max. Everybody's different. Certain people care about speed. We're not producing artwork by just sheer bundles in terms of mass orders. So, you know, if you go into a sign shop locally, they may have their printer settings set up for maximum speed because they figure no one's going to know. I don't do that. Everything here is set slow. I want the best quality for my clients, and then we can go from there. And again, this is our inkjet glossy vinyl. Once again, it's going to be laminated. It is not laminated yet, of course, with the 385/18. But you can certainly see the level of detail in those gauges. And again, that's the same material we used over here on the table. It's just buried, of course, with the 3M85/18 over the P51. So It really just is dependent on what you guys can come up with, but right now, we are getting a lot of questions on different furniture as well, because after doing that last video, I have gotten tons of requests on, what can be done, what actual surfaces you can apply the graphics to. If you're using the epoxy resin method, you can apply graphics to virtually anything. It's really a question of your patience and a question of how many coats of resin you want to put on to first seal the project, and then of course to do a flood coat to more or less level it. There are ways around that to limit the amount of epoxy being used. A lot of them are not being discussed online because, again, a lot of woodworkers are just focusing on their particular projects. But overall, if you seal the project first with a polyurethane after it's been sanded thoroughly to level it, meaning leveling the wood surface, you'll notice that you're not going to use near as much epoxy because that wood will be sealed. So the epoxy resin, when you put that first coat on, is not going to penetrate the wood as much as it would do if you're doing just bare wood after sanding. So again, there's a lot of different techniques to use to streamline the process. The big thing here is time investment versus ROI. Most people who are working full-time jobs, many of you out there watching this video, you're not working 11 minutes, and that's where I'm at right now, 11 minutes, 30 seconds, to yield $100 on a sheet of vinyl, okay? I can tell you that right now. So when you think about that, and think about how easy this is in terms of, investing your time, whether you've gone to college, I've gone to college, I can tell you right now, the time investment with that, the monetary investment with that, this you can practice in your free time, and over the course of 2 weeks, have a process down, master the process, hell, under 2 weeks, some of you, and you're ready to make money out of the gate, just being creative. So again, the printer's wrapping up right now. I hope that this video has made you guys think and see some more projects. We're going to be posting a lot more. I might actually be posting some videos on Vinyl Master. I've been getting some questions about the software and how to use it in different practical applications. And this way it'll help you guys for, again, developing your own workflow. But up until that point, once again, I want to thank you all for your support. You'll see our contact information at the end of the video and in the beginning. Don't be afraid to reach out to Joanna or I. And again, we do, of course, fill custom orders. If you require custom cut sheets of vinyl, we can do that, rolls, you name it. We basically got, whatever substrate you require for your application. Once again, I limit you guys as far as your creativity with certain food grade products in terms of glasses, cutting boards, that kind of thing, tumblers. Use common sense with that. If you're in doubt, always ask. You never want to make anybody sick, guys. And you certainly don't want to put your company at risk. None of these people talk about that, but that is an actual variable that you do have to deal with as a business owner, regardless of how big your business is. Use common sense and execute common sense at all times. Once again, we thank you for your support. Take care.